This episode of Juice Guru Radio is brought to you by TriBest, making healthy living easy, and the Juice Guru Rewind at juicegururewind.com.
Welcome to Juice Guru Radio. Discover what the magic and power of juicing can do for you. And now, your host, best-selling author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Juice Fasting, Steve Prusak.
Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to Juice Guru Radio. I'm your host, Steve. Today we've got Jon Venus. He's a 100% plant-based public figure and online coach who built one of the largest personal fitness and lifestyle YouTube channels in the world. He's going to tell us how he did it, how he transformed his life. So get a juice, some tea, some water. We'll be back right after this with Jon Venus.
Did you know you can make a great living in the hottest new business trend today? The Juice Guru Certification Program is the world's first online course to give you the knowledge and marketing skills to excel as a juicing coach and start making money in no time. Find out more at juicecoachtraining.com.
Juice Guru Radio.
Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to Juice Guru Radio. I'm your host, Steve. Like I said, we've got Jon Venus, 100% plant-based public figure and online coach with one of the largest online followings in the fitness world. He's going to show you how you can get into the best shape of your life in 2018, and you can do it without all those animal products. We're going to hear all about his journey and what he's doing. Let's welcome to the show right now, Jon Venus.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
So thanks for being here, Jon. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear it. It's perfect time of the year because everyone's focused on, all right, how do I get into better shape? And so let's start with you and your journey, how you got into fitness and then transitioning into a plant-based diet.
All right. So it's a bit of a long story, but I'm going to keep it brief. So about 5 years ago, my little brother, who is 2.5 years younger than me, decided to go plant-based. And that was a huge shocker because we are from a half Norwegian, half Brazilian family. Moved around a lot while we grew up all over the world. But we always kept the traditions of eating a bunch of meat. We were big into the Brazilian barbecue. So every weekend we had 2 barbecues, one with loads of rump steak, chicken hearts, all that, Brazilian stuff, sausages. And on the other day, on Sunday, we usually had a barbecue with seafood. So barbecue and meat was a huge part of our family and our life. So him all of a sudden turning up and saying he was going vegan or plant-based was a huge shock to me. I didn't even know that stuff existed. I've heard the term vegetarian before, but vegan was something that I really haven't heard about. I don't think a lot of people have at that point. It's a lot more mainstream now, but at the time, I don't think many people knew about it. And that was I was super confused about his choice. I was giving him a super hard time, criticizing him. And I just felt kind of offended by it. And I actually, to be completely honest, I would have preferred him coming out and saying that he's gotten involved in drugs or something like that. That would be more acceptable to me than him dropping out kind of like the family food and the traditions that we've been growing up with.
You were feeling like a personal offense to this, like he's going against everything our parents taught us.
Exactly. Yes. I did feel that way. And I've always considered myself a very open-minded person. So it's kind of weird and strange looking back, but that is exactly how I felt. And I think a lot of people feel the same way when they are presented with a different way of living or thinking that they're not used to or that they never thought about. It's really easy to criticize. And that's exactly what I did.
So what made your brother decide to take that leap? And I mean, at the time you were into fitness as it were, right?
Yes. At the time I'd been lifting for about 2 years. So I've been bodybuilding or going to the gym and weightlifting for 2 years by then. And what made my brother go vegan, he was going out with this girl who was transitioning into a plant-based diet at the time. And he was open to experimenting with it. And then they watched a movie called Forks Over Knives. And my brother was studying bioengineering at the time and was really into science and health. And now he's studying medicine, so he's becoming a doctor. But yeah, he was always into science and medicine and that kind of stuff. So that really struck a chord with him, that documentary did. And he just saw the health benefits, the studies that have been made kind of showing how animal products may not be as good for us as people think. And that's what made him try the vegan diet out.
And so where was the switching point? Like when we were like, all right, you know what, maybe I should give this a try. Like how did you go from making fun of him and being offended to saying, you know what, maybe I ought to try this?
Yeah, so the funny thing is that he didn't try to make anyone else go vegan. He was very respectful. He didn't try to show anyone else the reasons why he was going vegan. He kind of like suggested a couple documentaries, but I didn't really watch it. It took me a year to watch the documentary that made him vegan, Forks Over Knives. And when I watched that, you know, I understood where he was coming from. I respected his choice. I've gotten to the point where I wasn't criticizing him anymore. I kind of supported him. But I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to drop my favorite foods and the tradition just because of health. You know, I'm not going to, you know, I'm okay with sacrificing a little bit of my health to enjoy these foods. So as time went on, you know, we didn't really communicate about veganism that much. But I'd say a year after that again, I came across a documentary which kind of exposes the animal industry in terms of agricultural or, you know, animal farming practices. So slaughterhouse footage, that kind of stuff. The movie is called Earthlings. And, you know, I was just like this tough guy, like, I'm not going to get affected by this. I'm going to watch it and continue eating my chicken hearts. But turns out that it kind of really opened my eyes. It was super hard to watch. I could see the feelings of these animals for the first time because, you know, I don't think a lot of us grow up and with loads of pigs around us. You know, we don't really get to know these animals that we're eating like we know our dogs and cats. So that kind of like opened my eyes and a new perspective came about. And, you know, I was kind of like feeling more than just like analyzing logically why I should or should not eat meat. I was kind of more empathetic towards the animals, and I was kind of like trying to feel what they were feeling. And, you know, the ethical side of things was what really did it to me. After watching that movie, I went vegan straight away. I had to have one more Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream just before saying goodbye to that stuff. And then that's it. I went vegan straight away.
The same movie that I brainwashed my wife to go vegan with.
Oh, really?
Earthling, Sean Monson's an incredible film. So I guess one of the biggest fears you might have had at the beginning was, am I going to shrivel up? Like, how do you build muscle while eating plant foods? And you know, was that one of the things that was a concern?
Mm-hmm. It was a concern, but I was willing to sacrifice my body image and my looks for trying to explore different lifestyles that didn't, you know, cause that much harm to these animals. So I just like, I said to myself that it's worth, you know, getting a little bit less protein, a little bit less muscle mass on my body just to try to see if I can help and make a difference. So definitely that was one of the fears. At the time that I went vegan, there was no public figure out there showing how to build muscle or, you know, bodybuilders that were vegan at the time that I knew of. At least I did my research and I couldn't find any. So it was really, you know, I was going into unknown waters and I did not know what to expect. I was ready to, you know, become a skinny guy. But
right, because you originally, I saw some of your videos, you were a skinny guy before getting into fitness, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I was, I thought I had a fear of going back to that. And, not that it's a super important thing, but, you know, I worked hard for my, you know, muscle gains over the years, and I didn't want to, throw that away. So if I could maintain it, at least that would be a big plus. So it turns out that didn't happen. I was getting in, like, I was overcompensating when switching over by eating so much more food, and I was probably getting in 6,000 calories a day. So I did not shrink. I did not lose muscle mass. The opposite happened. I gained so much strength in the beginning because of all the calories that I was compensating with. And as a result, my muscle mass also increased after 2 or 3 months. I was seeing changes that I didn't see before. So I was actually progressing even faster, probably also because of the amount of carbohydrates that I was eating compared to more fat and protein before the switch. So that was I was also getting a lot of body fat because of the calories were just like overboard. But I did see huge improvements in the gym that I haven't seen before. And that really, really got me super interested. And that's when I decided to share my journey on YouTube and just show people that it is possible.
So you were overeating, basically. Even though you're eating vegan, you were still putting on fat.
Exactly. And that was just because of my fear of losing muscle mass and losing weight. I was just overcompensating because I didn't know what to expect. So that's what happened. Yeah, I gained a lot of weight in general.
So what other benefits did you notice as you took on a plant-based diet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the main benefit that I noticed, and this is something that a lot of men don't like talking about, is I had a lot of issues with constipation. So I would go to the bathroom maybe twice a week or something for a long period of time. I would have periods where it was fine, and then I had 2-3 months where it was absolutely horrible. But that issue was fixed within, I'd say, 1 to 2 weeks. My digestion was working flawlessly. I could go to the bathroom normally like a normal human being, and I felt amazing. I felt like the food that I was eating was just like going to the right places. It was coming through properly. And I just felt so energized from eating this way. And it's just a feeling that I hadn't felt for years. And that was amazing.
What kind of reaction did your family and friends have to, this lifestyle shift?
Yeah, so my case is a little bit different. So because of my brother going vegan 2 years before I did, he kind of was able to influence my family, especially my parents. Slowly, they were really receptive to the science out there in terms of health benefits. So they started going vegan, or not vegan, but they started eating plant-based for 5 days of the week. But they still had the 2 barbecue days. They didn't want to throw that away, so they did 5 days vegan and then 2 days with a bunch of meat, but still a lot better than they used to. So they were like halfway there by the time I switched. And when I switched fully, I think it only took them like a week or 2, and then they made the full switch as well. And that was that. I didn't have to, because my brother did a lot of work on them before, I didn't really have to do an explanation or anything like that. They fully got it. And in terms of friends, everyone was super respectful. I think it's a lot of how you approach things, how you present your shift in perspective. If you're criticizing people for not doing the same thing as you are, I think people can give you trouble and be more judgmental. But if you are super open-minded and explain your position super transparently, explaining to people that you're not judging them for the way they're eating, I think things will go super flawlessly and there won't be too many problems. So I didn't have any problems with my social life from switching my diet at all.
So here we are coming up to the new year. What are some of your tips to get into better shape? And what are some of the things that you're eating and that you recommend your clients eat too?
Yeah, so the main tips that I would give for people who want to get in shape is, you just have to start. And that is the hardest thing. You just have to start going to the gym or, getting on the treadmill, doing any type of activity. It doesn't have to be weightlifting. It can be anything that you enjoy doing is going to help you achieve your health goals. And I would also say I think because 90% of people that have New Year's resolutions fail, I think it's also important not to set super unrealistic goals. I know a lot of people set the same goals over and over again, year after year, and they never make it. So be a little bit, easier on yourself. Don't say, by this time I'm going to achieve that, or by this time I'm going to be, lose 50 pounds. Because let's face it, most of us just don't have the willpower to do that. And it's step by step. So just have a goal of, slowly getting better. I think that is a lot more kind of sustainable. It's a lot more practical than saying that you're going to lose a ton of weight, in the next couple of months. So set small goals and work step by step to reaching them. That is the best way to do it. And also in terms of diet, same thing. There is no reason to do what I did, is just switching your diet completely one day to the next. Just do, try to get some more healthy foods into your diet rather than eliminating all unhealthy foods at once. Just focus on getting more greens in, more green juices, or just more veggies and fruits basically into your diet slowly until you feel comfortable dropping some of the unhealthy stuff that you have trouble dropping.
Great. Yeah. Great advice. And what about you? Like, what are you eating in a typical day? Do you, just the kinds of foods, and then you can maybe make some suggestions for transition kinds of foods. But on a typical day, what are you eating now?
So right now I am, it's December, it's cold out here in Norway, and I want to eat a lot of food. So I'm eating, typical day for me would be starting my day off with some oatmeal, with mixed berries, maybe some raisins, almond milk, throwing some bananas in there as well, some hemp seeds or flax seeds. And that's pretty much it. That's what I start my day with. And I'd have my workout a couple hours later. And as a post-workout meal, I usually have a smoothie, which consists of, again, blueberries or mixed berries, frozen, some spinach.
You must get those acai bowls too, right? Being part Brazilian.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's a bit hard to get it here in the village in Norway. I don't think I've ever heard about acai bowls, but for sure when I'm in more warmer places, I definitely go for some acai. But yeah, I get some frozen berries. I throw them in there. Maybe one or two medjool dates. I throw in 1 or 2 bananas and some protein powder as well, just to boost my protein intake. And maybe some flax seeds, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Throw in some almond milk, blend it all together, and drink it. Or maybe I'll make a thicker smoothie and pour it into a bowl and throw some granola on top and have a smoothie bowl instead.
What kind of protein powder do you recommend? There's so many different brands on the market now.
Yeah, so the thing about protein, like protein is protein. It doesn't really matter in terms of bioavailability as much as people think. So it won't matter too much if you're choosing hemp or rice or soy. Some are a tiny bit better than others, but the main thing to look out for is if the protein powder is properly sourced. So a lot of companies don't do the proper steps to ensure that the protein powder that is super clean and heavy metal tested. A lot of them are not organic. So those are some of the things that is important to look out for. So I choose an organic one, non-GMO, produced in the UK with no artificial sweeteners, basically all natural, raw protein and BCAAs. The company is called Viva Life, and they're doing some amazing work as well. So that's what I consume. It's just about keeping as natural as possible and making sure that there are no harmful ingredients and that everything is sourced properly. It's always good to check where you're getting your stuff from, because it does have it can have an impact on your health. So as a next meal, I'd say I have a kind of like a hot meal. So that would consist of maybe a burrito bowl with some brown rice, some black beans or pinto beans, some maybe a little bit of tofu or tempeh, loads of dark leafy greens, and peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, salsa, and guacamole. Just have some sriracha or hot sauce on top as well. So that was one of my favorite meals to have. And as a night snack, I'll probably just have maybe some toast with avocado, or maybe some berry cereal, which is basically just some berries with some almond milk, and just eat that. So that is a typical day for me.
Now you get some salads in there too?
Oh yeah, I mean, it depends on the season. Like right now, I'm not getting in that much because the grocery stores don't have really good fresh produce, and the selection in the grocery store in the village is very poor. But when I'm in Spain or in LA, I get a lot of I make sure that I get a huge bowl of salad every single day with loads of kale and dark leafy greens to make sure to get all my vitamins and minerals for sure.
Great. Sounds like a great diet. So what about your exercise routine? Are you just doing weightlifting, and how often are you working out? Like what is your protocol?
Yeah, so I mainly do weightlifting. That is what I enjoy doing the most. And I do experiment a little bit with different types of bodyweight training, and I have increased the amount of calisthenics into my routine, and that is a lot of fun. It's just about keeping it interesting, changing it up a little bit. But I also, every chance that I have, I do other activities like, sometimes I go for 30-minute jogs or 1-hour jogs. Not that often, but I do enjoy throwing it in there sometimes. I do go for a lot of walks. I think that is one of the most underrated activities. I think everyone should be walking at least 30 minutes a day, just to get some fresh air and just get your body moving. We're meant to be moving around as humans, so that is very important. And I do play soccer here in the village whenever I'm here, or whenever there is a soccer training available or some friends are playing. I'm all up for that, and I love playing soccer and different sports as well. So just any kind of activity is beneficial. But for me personally, weightlifting is what I focus more on. I train maybe 5 to 7 times a week in the gym for 1 hour a day. And that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years.
And are you mixing up body parts depending when you go, or is it like do you do the full body workout? Like, how do you work that out?
Yeah, so that is very different for person to person. So for me, because my main goal is to build as much muscle as possible naturally on a vegan diet, and I want to show the world that it is possible. So my routine is optimized in order to for hypertrophy and muscle growth. So I do a lot of volume, a lot of stress for each muscle. So I do split it up. I do either a push-pull leg split, which means push is basically chest, shoulder, and triceps. The pull day is back, some rear delts, and biceps. And then I do my lower body on the third day, and I repeat that twice in a week. So that is 6 times a week. So that is the routine that I go for the most. It allows me to hit each body part twice a week with a lot of volume, and I've seen a lot of results with that.
So, I wanted to say, so what is your motivation now? Because are you looking to show people what is possible, and where are you going with it? Are you going to do any competitions, or what are you up to with your career?
Yeah, so my main goal is, it's hard because it keeps changing. And the only thing that I have in mind, my only real goal is to help the world transition into a more sustainable diet for the environment, lessen animal suffering, and get people healthier and more active. So all those things kind of fit in together, and just like by promoting healthy eating and activity and exercise. So my main goal is just to continue growing my following and my reach, to be able to spread this message to as many people as possible. In terms of personal physique goals or anything like that, I don't have a specific aim. I'm just, training hard, and whatever happens. If I can build more muscle mass to show the world that it is possible, amazing. But I'm not looking to become a professional bodybuilder or anything like that. I just love training and sharing my experiences with people. And that's what I want to focus on.
Well, Jon Venus's website is www.jonvenus.com. That's JONVENUS.com. We'll have a link under the show notes at juicegururadio.com, or if you're in the Juice Guru Rewind, you'll see it below the video, so you can check out the amazing work he's doing and how he's inspiring so many people. What are you finding, Jon, with your, what kind of feedback are you getting on the YouTube channel? I mean, of course, the trolls are out there in the internet world, but overall, what kind of, are you finding that people are like, are you causing that shift, the revolution?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The vegan revolution. So I am getting a lot of positive feedback. I'm getting a lot of love, and I'm trying. I don't want to take credit for any of it, because I'm just showing, just spreading information. I'm trying to help people see the facts, see how the environment is being destroyed because of what we put on our plates, how different foods affect our health. And I'm just like recycling information, and I don't want to take any credit for that personally, but I do feel that the way I present the information is very different. I think a lot of people say that not a lot of people are doing it the way that I'm doing, by showing physically what is possible, and a lot of people are motivated by looks and by muscle and that kind of stuff. So I think it is a very efficient way to introduce a new lifestyle. And I can tell by the emails that I get every single day, by the comments that people leave on the YouTube channel, that it is really making a huge impact in people's lives. And that is what keeps me going. I can see the results. I can see that it's happening out there. So that just drives me to want to do more.
And what about, we have a lot of women listeners too. How do you change, when you're working with women clients or doing videos geared towards women? How does that change as far as what my goal might be and some of the men watching or listening compared to the women? How do you alter that?
Yeah, so I'd say around 50% of our clients are female. I run the coaching with my wife as well. So, we get both sides. She's a nutritionist and a personal trainer. So we do focus on spreading the message to women just as much as men. And there is really no difference in terms of workouts and nutrition. It really is the same. And that is one of the misconceptions that are out there. Like, you don't have to train differently if you are a woman or a man. It really doesn't change that much. A lot of women want to build more glutes and have a bigger butt, but so we might throw in more squats and hip thrusts in there. But apart from that, it doesn't really change that much. It really doesn't.
Well, anything else that we didn't touch on as far as, your message, what we can get out to our audience to inspire? I mean, you are obviously an inspiration, and thank you for the work you're doing. But anything else that you wanted to communicate to our audience that can really help us make a change as we look towards the new year and our own personal goals?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned since switching my diet is we really have to focus, all of us have to focus on trying our very best to be as open-minded and as receptive and accepting of new information as possible. It is super hard to do. Our egos get in the way. There is a lot of emotion attached to our diet and loads of lifestyle things. So it's just really important just to try to meditate on things, just try to be self-reflective, try to look at things from a third person point of view, and just try to accept things and try to analyze different situations as if you were in someone else's shoes rather than just judging and that kind of stuff. And it's super hard to do, but I've been able to do it, and I think a lot of people can too if they just open their minds and are more receptive and accepting of other people.
Yeah, because initially that's what you went through, right? So you can relate to what most people are thinking.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that is what has kind of made my channel and my reach grow that much, is because I was that guy criticizing people who are vegan. I was that guy who almost hated the idea of going against the traditional diet. I was that guy. I was angry. I was judgmental. So I'm able to tell people who eat meat and who disagree with vegans on my YouTube channel my perspective, and they can relate because of that, and they kind of open up more and kind of allow themselves to think in a different way just because they know I went through or I had the same perspective that they have. And I think that's very relatable for a lot of people, and I think that has been very important for my growth online.
Rather than coming at it with judgment, which obviously doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of methods that don't work out there. There is nothing that will kind of screw you over or ruin your own point of view quicker than coming, out of aggression and judging people. So no one wants to hear that they're doing something wrong. And you have no right to, in my opinion, you have no right to come at people in an aggressive way. You just have to be loving, be positive. It's hard to do sometimes, but it's the only way that works, at least in the big scale of things.
Again, you're listening to Jon Venus, his website, www.jonvenus.com, right here on Juice Guru Radio, a real inspiration. And we're going to close out the iHeartRadio portion, and unless you're part of the Juice Guru Rewind at juicegururewind.com, where we're going to actually take some questions. You're behind the scenes with us. Jon, thank you again for being here on the radio show. We really appreciate the work you're doing. Thanks for beaming in from Norway.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
I'm Steve Prussack, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Juice Guru Radio. Find out more about us at juiceguru.com. Until next time, get your juice on.